Hey guys, it's Will. So let me ask you something. What if I told you that there's a stock sitting in the middle of two massive trends, electric vehicle batteries and space exploration? And I told you that this stock is still totally under the radar. Well, that's KULR technology. While the market is just starting to catch on, some of the smart money is already pulling in. And today I'll show you why the stock could explode and what you need to know before everyone else figures it out. Now, I actually probably messed up that intro because honestly, it's already exploded. And a lot of people think it might be done, but let's just kind of go over the analysis. It's gone from 30 cents to $5.60 just in the matter of like 2.5 months. So this stock has a lot of news around it that we could go into, and we will go into that. See, this trend was really consistent going upwards, then we saw it be consistent going downwards before breaking this downtrend and starting to consolidate. Now it's actually holding above the moving average, which oftentimes acts as a support, especially in bullish markets. And you can see that it's re-establishing this support. It's starting to slowly make its way back up. Now, today it's up 1.4%, 1.2%, as you can see. So it's kind of consolidating. No big moves from KULR over the past 10 days. But what we could see here in the near term, there's a couple things to note. There's a previous level, it's previous resistance, see that previous support, previous resistance right there. And this is a really key level because we've seen it get rejected about 5 times just in the last 10 days where it's not able to break above it. But because it's consolidating, that moving average kind of sweeping in there, now it's holding above the moving average. The overall trend looks like that. And if we're going to see it continue up, right now would be the time because as you can see, this level is closing in. And if it's going to break above it, it needs to do it right now because if it doesn't, it's most likely going to drop below this SMA, and that's a trend that we would not really want to see. We're kind of seeing it not make the best movement if it drops below this level. Then we could see continuation down, and that doesn't look good for KULR. The long term, or at least, sorry, the short term looks like this level here is about 10%. The next level would be that previous resistance right here, and that would be about $3.50, give or take. See that previous resistance, kind of a zone of consolidation there, maybe a little bit higher right there. Yeah, so about 45% increase if it gets to that previous resistance. Now, if we see it get to what would be previous highs, we're talking about some big movements. That's 126% increase if we see it get back to previous highs. It's possible. I mean, if we see it continue this trend, it's kind of looking similar to what happened with Big Bear AI, the company that is more into airport security. They scan your face when you walk through security. They're processing a bunch of data. They partner with Palantir. This company, let's get into some of the news of it. And let's also talk about their financials because their financials are where things get interesting. They are one of the smaller companies that's buying Bitcoin in groves. They have so much Bitcoin for how much money they actually make. So if we look at KULR, we can go to KULR Technology. The interesting thing about them is that they work with NASA, they work with Molicel. You can see they work with Lockheed Martin, Department of Transportation, Federal Aviation. There's no shortage of contracts here. And the reason why is because they have technology that is unique. They're building lithium ion battery, thermal runaway propagation. That's what they protect against. Their batteries are ultimately going to withstand extreme temperatures. They focus on using carbon composite materials that are very unique that help with thermal management and energy storage. And they recently signed a contract to essentially pay SpaceX to launch their batteries up into space in the SpaceX Rideshare mission in 2026. So they're right on the forefront of experiencing some of the aerospace battery systems and EV battery systems. And they're also even working in the drone industry, working on different things related to the software. So you could also take a look here. If you look at outside of their news, the financials again they're unbelievable, guys. The KULR financials are actually insane because their revenue, this is where it's pretty normal. Revenue, see 3 million year over year, 4% increase. Net income negative 2 million year over year. They increased 63%. Their profit margins negative 62%. Year over year, they increased 65%. Year over year looks good. They beat their earnings the past 2 quarters. Things are looking okay. But this is where it gets crazy. They just bought $42 million worth of Bitcoin. And so just their revenue was $2 million or $3 million, 3.2 million. Just in returns on Bitcoin alone, they surpassed their entire revenue target and made more than they lost in revenue or in net income just by investing in Bitcoin. So you can see over here, KULR, you go, if we just search KULR Bitcoin, you could see that they, actually today increased their position by another 10, is that 10 million? Did that say 10 million? Yeah, so 8 million. So now they've increased their share to $50 million in Bitcoin. And they reportedly just bought today, this just came out here in the past few minutes. Is that right? Oh, no. Earlier this week, they just increased their size by 8 million. Before we knew they had 42 million, they just increased it to 50 million. Their average price per Bitcoin is 101,695. So if we go to Bitcoin, they're at 105,000. So if you do some quick math, they bought at 101. It's at 105. So it's gone up 4,000. So it's gone up a little bit more or a little bit less than 4%, probably about 3.75%. And if you do the math, 3.75% times 50 million, you got 500,000 would be 1%. So multiply that by 4, and that puts it, multiply that by 4, and that puts it at 2.5 million. Is that right? $2.5 million they've made from buying Bitcoin. And their whole revenue, so just to put that in perspective, that puts them, if their net income was negative 2 million, they just became a net positive company by buying Bitcoin. Now, of course, there's volatility, but they're saying we would rather hold, they're allocating 90% of their cash reserves. So they would rather allocate 90% of their cash into Bitcoin than hold cash. And so far, it's paying off, making more than their whole lost net income here. And that's in a short amount of time. We're talking just a couple weeks. So the Bitcoin move, the technology that they're building, and then when we look at their stock, they're consolidating, they're moving here. And if they make it back to higher highs, that's a big move. That's extremely bullish. What we're more likely to see, I would love to see this previous level here. That would be really healthy to see KULR stock do that. That level we mapped out earlier, just that $3.50 range, that'd be about a 40% increase from here. And I know some of you guys have been holding this since under $1, which is awesome. Some of you guys just got in recently or have been trading the volatility. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to see how it plays out. I like their partnerships. I like some of what they're doing. They got Navy contracts. They got Army contracts. They're working with NASA as well. So that SpaceX mission is also interesting. So a lot of things they're doing. The technicals look good. We'll definitely keep a close eye on it at Market Open. If you guys want to watch me trade live at Market Open, it's that second link down below. We have a no strings attached sale that will have a little bit more friction in the future. Will you have to do things to earn that discount? But right now it's free in the second link below. And I'd love to see you there on Monday at Market Open. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Find your thumbs up, hit that like button, do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.